You're probably working a job right now, one that you got from the degree you studied for in university. You probably don't have much in savings. Your living expenses seem ridiculously high. You feel as though you're not paid enough. You have credit card debt that needs taking care of. Maybe you are a student studying for a degree that you hope to get a job that can bring some good money. You probably don't have any savings, only a pesky student debt hanging above your head. Being rich, that seems like a distant dream. How did they do it? You ask yourself, seeing all those millionaires and billionaires, especially the ones who got there at such a young age. It might even make you angry. I'm just unlucky. Those dreams you had, they'll just be dreams. But what if I told you you were wrong? What if there was a way of getting there? An actual equation to wealth, a science behind the way how money works. What if you didn't have to abandon those dreams of paying off your parents' mortgage or traveling the world? What do you really think about money? Is this something you work for? Is it earned or is it inherited? Is it the root cause of all evil? Are you desperate to have more of it? Have you been chasing it? Most of your life truth is most of what you think about money has been influenced by your upbringing and environment. So now, stick with me here, because we're going to have to change the way you've been seeing money your whole life. Hollywood has always had a habit of depicting the wealthy and rich as evil, backstabbing, entitled, or corrupt individuals. The question is, have you bought into that stereotype? A recent study showed that the world's ultra-wealthy people, who had a net worth of 30 million or more, 68% of them were self-made. And it seems like every other study backs up this conclusion. Warren Buffett, self-made billionaire. Howard Schultz, born in poverty. Oprah Winfrey, born in poverty. Jeff Bezos, self-made billionaire. Elon Musk, self-made billionaire. Sarah Blakely, self-made billionaire. But you wonder, what is it that these people understood that you don't? I'm going to assume that if you're watching this, you want to make money, and a lot of it as soon as possible, if that is your goal. Then job equals to salary will never get you there. We all have a precious resource, the most important resource for all, and once it's gone, there's no way of getting it back. That resource is time. In a standard job, the amount of money you earn is dependent on the amount of time you put into that job. If you earned $20 an hour and worked 40 hours a week, it would take you nearly 24 years to reach a total of $1 million. But that is without subtracting any taxes or any expenses that you will incur over 24 years. And let's not forget that inflation would make your $1 million less valuable. The reality is that on a salary of $20 an hour, you can only really be a millionaire at an old age by living frugally, and most of that precious resource, known as time, has slipped through your fingers. You traded all that time for money, and it wasn't even a substantial amount either. So again, you ask yourself, how is it then that there are self-made millionaires and billionaires that such young ages makes them so different? And the truth is, they have a better equation than you. They have a way of understanding money that you haven't quite grasped. Pay very close attention now. Stop chasing money in a capitalist society. The rules of the game are as follows. You are paid in proportion to the perceived value that you have, and the people who perceive your value are the market, the consumers of the economy. Sometimes people complain that football players are overpaid, but for players to be paid millions, there has to be a market for the football industry in the first place. People have to see the value in football in the first place for them to want to spend money on matches and merchandise, and if the market is a high demand for football. Guess what happens to the players who are at the top of their game? They are paid generously for it. It's not about how hard you work as a cleaner that sweating and tiring himself out every day is paid far less than the accountant sitting behind a desk. Why? Because the market perceives the value of what the cleaner does to be far less than the accountant. As harsh as it may sound, the cleaner can be replaced by anybody. It isn't difficult to learn how to do his job, and therefore the market will not pay him more than the accountant, the guy who spent years studying numbers, the guy who has saved his clients thousands on their taxes. But even so, we just discussed how getting a job is in the right equation to amassing a great amount of wealth in a shorter period of time. So then how can we increase our perceived value? What is it about people like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos that makes their perceived value so high? The first step to this equation of wealth is quite simple. If you want money, solve problems. If you take a second to digest this statement, you realize that just about all money runs from this basic premise. If it solves a problem, money will be thrown at it. If it's $1 million problem, then the solution will make you millions. If it's $1 billion problem, then the solution will make you billions. Think about all the problems that our site like Amazon solves. The hassle of going to a store, that hassle of having to wait weeks for a delivery, cheaper prices, and so on, not to mention all the other companies that Amazon bones and the problems that those companies solve. Jeff Bezos helped solve a $1 billion problem and also awarded favorably for doing so. If you've been chasing money, then you've been doing it all wrong. It sounds almost paradoxical, but if you want money, it isn't money that you should be looking for. You should be looking for problems, and more importantly, solutions to those problems. And once you found that solution, make a business around it. Just solve problems and money will appear. So I'm going to have to create the next Amazon for me to be rich, or the next Facebook or Google. Always start with a problem. Listen to the market around you. What are people saying they don't like? What are people saying they wish existed? What are people saying frustrates them? What do people think is incredibly inconvenient? Is that a problem that you can solve? And also, is a problem that is worth solving? The final step of this equation to wealth is finding a scalable solution. Is your solution a piece of software? Then that means once that software has been built, you can scale it infinitely online without needing to worry about things like production or shipping costs, as it's all done virtually. For most of you, it was never about the money. Money is just a piece of paper, a number on a screen. Its value is only backed up by our belief in its value. From the very start, this was never about the money. Paying off the mortgage, buying your dream car, traveling around the world, never having to worry about your financial situation. It's the freedom that you were looking for. Your destination wasn't anything monetary related. It was a feeling, a sensation, the ability to do what you want whenever you want. The most important lesson here was never about the nature of money. It was about the one valuable resource that we all have. The one resource that we will never be able to reclaim, time, is giving up a large chunk of your time towards a job that you probably don't like worth it. So I need to remind you something. Stop chasing money, chase problems, and find the solution to those problems. This is the equation through which all money is found. And if you desire liberty by never needing to worry about money ever again, then let solving problems be the meaningful struggle in your life. However, does it mean you'll be happy at the end of the road? Doesn't mean you'll feel fulfilled. Only you can answer that question. But if your struggle is meaningful, then perhaps it's worth pursuing. So that should be it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed our video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. See you next time.